Hello and welcome to the show. This week we have the battle of the Japanese supercars, the Lexus LF-A versus the Nissan GT-R. And we start with the Lexus, a name more well known for creating sort of large, comfortable, well-built luxury boxes than it is for its supercars. The LF-A is an interesting supercar. It has a fantastic engine in it, 550 horsepower V10, that makes an awful lot of noise, a very distinctive noise as well. I do like the engine. I don't know how you couldn't like the engine in this car. It's a really very exciting thing. Lexus claim that it'll go from idle to redline, which is about 9,000 RPM, in 0.6 of a second. I don't know how that compares to other car engines, but it sounds pretty impressive. And of course, I'm sure you all know the story of Lexus say that they have to have an electronic rev meter or whatever it's called because the engine gains and loses revs so fast, which I believe. It's a very excitable engine and it's very happy to sort of make a lot of noise. Performance wise, 0 to 60 takes 3.7 seconds, top speed of around 200 miles an hour, so it's firmly in the sort of supercar ballpark. It weighs 3,200 pounds, which is sort of about right for these high-end supercars. When you sort of look at sports cars, you expect them to weigh a little bit less, but with supercars with big heavy engines, that's about right. It doesn't feel particularly heavy either. Some cars might weigh that but feel a lot heavier. This one here feels fairly light and agile. There are, however, two problems. First of all is the price. 350,000 credits is an awful lot. That's 110,000 more than a 458 Italia, 200,000 more than the Nissan. The bigger problem though is, well, the handling. While yes, it does feel relatively light, it's understeers through high-speed corners, it oversteers through low-speed corners. It's not particularly predictable doing anything. In real life, this car had very good reviews from pretty much everybody who drove it. However, in Forza, I'm not a fan particularly. I mean, it's not undrivable, by no means undrivable. It is still a very quick car. Just, I don't know, it's not the sort of car that suits my driving style. It's an exciting car, I would say, in general, but handling just lets it down. It's okay. I mean, when I'm saying it's letting it down, I mean, this is compared to some like properly good handling cars. It's not terrible handling, but it's just too unpredictable for me. And yeah, I'm not particularly a fan of that. Up next, we have the Nissan GT-R Specv, and I apologise if I end up calling this V-Spec. It's just, I might get confused, so sorry about that. Now, this is a car, or the GT-R anyway, is a car that is often used by people on the internet to say, oh, this is the best value for money car there is, of which I completely disagree. It is a very good value for money car, but it's not the best. Now, the Specv that is in Forza is a little bit more expensive than the standard model. The Specv is 150,000 credits. The standard model isn't in Forza, so I don't know what performance is like, but even assuming performance between these two is fairly similar, price of the normal one, say 100,000 credits, is probably what it would be in Forza. That puts it with a ACR Viper, a Corvette ZR1, and the 2013 SRT Viper. Now, is it faster than them? Well, in real life, the ZR1 is a quick car. In Forza, it's a little bit leery. The ACR Viper is just quicker. It's got much better handling. Acceleration probably isn't particularly fast, but it's so much more grip. Although, admittedly, that is more of a track car. 2013 Viper is probably its closest rival, and it'll be interesting to see how the lap times compare with these two cars. Anyhow, the GT-R is actually surprised me when it came to driving this thing. I'm sure many of you know I don't like big, heavy four-wheel drive cars with lots of power because they just understeer all over the place. This is surprising, I have to say. I don't know how Forza calculates how much power goes to the rear wheels and how much goes to the front wheels. However, this handles pretty well. Much like the Audi R8 that was on a few weeks ago, it surprised me how well it handled. I mean, there is going to be understeer when you go to the high-speed corners in a four-wheel drive car. It's inevitably going to happen. However, everywhere else, this was pretty good. And of course, the advantage of having four-wheel drive is as you come out of these corners, you don't have to sort of wait to put the power down. You can just boot it and it will go, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's much better to drive than I was expecting. Specification-wise, has 479 horsepower, so not as much as the Lexus. However, 0 to 60 time takes 3.2 seconds. Again, that is thanks to the four-wheel drive system. Top speed, again, it was quite a big surprise, 212 miles an hour. I didn't realise this thing was quite so fast in a straight line. All in all, the GT-R is quite a nice car. Again, it's not really my favourite of the supercars. I think it looks a little bit too bulky It's a good looking car, but I don't know, I just find it does look a little bit bulky for my taste. Overall, it's a nice car. However, it is now time to find out how it compares to the Lexus as our Stig takes them around the test track. Now, off the line, we know which one is going to be faster thanks to four-wheel drive. It's inevitable the GT-R is going to get a better launch. As I said, 0-60 time is 0.5 of a second quicker in the GT-R. So as you can see, off the line, yeah, it's going to pull away already. Now, expectation-wise, both of these cars are S-Class. However, the Lexus is a PI of 613, a fairly low S-Class, whereas the GT-R is 663, which puts it sort of in the mid of S-Class. And this could be interesting to see where these fit in. They're going to be around mid-table. However, that is a rather crowded area on our leaderboard. So yeah, who knows quite what they're going to be near. As they come down towards the hammerhead now, you can see the GT-R is starting to pull away. This corner here can be quite tricky for both of these cars. The GT-R with its understeer, however, Stig keeps it in between the lines very nicely, and with the LF-A it's getting the power down on the exit that can be a little bit of a problem. There are a number of times I saw Stig getting that thing sideways. As we come up towards the follow through, now this is where the GT-R does struggle through these very high speed corners. The understeer and the extra weight start to cause it a little bit of problems through the tyre. Well, both of them are very, very fast, as you would expect really. The LF-A does sound absolutely fantastic. It's completely drowning out that Nissan GT-R's twin-turboed V6. As we come around the second to last corner, you can see the GT-R is a fair bit in the lead, and around the final corner, not too much leery sidewaysness from the Lexus, and fairly controlled from the GT-R, which isn't particularly surprising considering it's four-wheel drive. Now, as we saw, the GT-R was the fastest. However, here are the lap times. For the Nissan, a 1:15.8. For the Lexus, a 1:16.6, which put the Lexus right near the bottom of S-Class. In fact, I think it's not quite the slowest S-Class we've had. Surprised me that was quite so far down, slower than a Jaguar XJ220. For the Nissan, a 15.8 puts it with the rough RGT8, and the 2013 Viper is about right, a little bit slower than a 911 Turbo. So yes, there we go. That is it for this rivalry. Of these two, it would be a hard choice between them. I would probably have the LF-A just for the engine noise. However, for that sort of money, I wouldn't have either. I would probably go for the Weissman, because that was so much more fun to drive than either of them, or of course a Viper of some description. That is it for this video though, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, if you have a rivalry you would like to see us do, please leave it in the comment section. I will have a look through and I'll pick our favourites. However, until next time, goodbye.